Welcome to Into the Woo, a wellness podcast hosted by Alice Hu. I'll be exploring the world of crystals, energy healing, spirit guides, and more to help you understand how they can unlock your potential. These concepts have helped me discover my purpose and my truth, and I can't wait to hear how they will inspire you. I'll show you how they can be accessible and powerful tools in your life. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla. This is a wonderful jumping off point for today's conversation around raising your vibration. We are all containers of energy. This is how we are connected to one another, and energy is really how we make things happen in the world, how we are able to manifest. If you check in with your energy, you begin to realize that your energy, your mood is really your perspective. It is what powers your manifestation. It fuels what you want to happen in the world. So, my first understanding of energy came about a couple years ago during my yoga teacher training when we learned about the chakra system, which is the energy centers of our body. And when they're a little bit off, something in your life, something in your mind, body, spirit is also imbalanced as well. So this was my first experience in understanding a system of energy that pertains to us. And, these last few years, I've really started to understand what energy truly is. Like I said, it is what connects all of us. It is what makes everything happen. Especially these last few months, I've been putting a couple different concepts into play, into practice, in really intentionally checking in with my energy every single day, not only at the start of the day, but at the start of every single task that I have, whether it's answering an email, making my lunch or dinner, teaching a workshop or a class, really checking in before I start something new and resetting, saying, okay, I'm about to start something new. What do I want to share with those who are coming to my class or with the person that I'm emailing? Sitting with an intention so that that feeling, that energy can be translated, can be embedded in the work that I do, from an email to food to a workshop. And I think that this subtle change in perspective and doing has made a really big shift in my life. This intentionality has allowed me to be more mindful and allowed me to really get better results. Every time I have a chance to sit down, to ground myself, to set an intention for, how I'd like this task that I'm doing to be, it has had wonderful results. Raising your vibration is to move you into that high vibrational state where feelings, emotions like gratitude, optimism, hope, joy, fun reside. This is where you want to be to manifest things that are truly in alignment to your values and your truth. These types of manifestations, when coming from a high vibe, stay for longer, feel more right, bring you more joy. And when you manifest from a place of low vibration, which is stress, anxiety, uncertainty, fear, then you call in things that match that frequency, and you may get what you want, but, as time goes by, you realize, this isn't actually the right fit. I like to use the example of a job that I applied to a couple years ago, and in my mind, I had been looking for jobs for quite some time, I think a little over 6 months. And I was like, I just need a job. If I don't get a job now, I'm going to wait until next year. And then I'm like, it's going to be so annoying to explain to employers, why I haven't been working. etc., etc. I had all these different like stories that were like in my head. And so I met someone and it seemed like a really good fit. This job seemed ideal, but it didn't really pay that well. There seemed to be a lot of things that were happening that needed to be managed. It was a job that was strategy, but also execution. And I kind of shrugged it off and thought, well, it's a startup. That's like how things are. But in fact, what I realized was I was manifesting from a place of fear, of uncertainty, and not from a place of joy, abundance, nothing high vibe. And so that's exactly what I got. It was a very, very difficult job. There were a lot of ups and downs. And, hindsight is 2020. Now that I'm looking back, I'm like, okay, it wasn't really in the right alignment. I think both parties were operating out of fear, out of a lower vibration. And so that's why it wasn't a good fit for either one of us. So that's an example of what happens when you're manifesting from a place of fear, uncertainty, stress, anxiety. And I need to remind you again, because it's so important, we're always manifesting. This is like not a new thing. It's what I teach, what other people are teaching in terms of manifestation or manifest this, manifest your dream life, is really just a shift in understanding that, hey, you're able to create your reality 100%. You are deciding how things are happening in your life, what you're able to call in, and that truly all revolves around your energy. Yes, your energy, your mood, your vibe, your frequency. You could even say kind of an extension of like your personality, your habits, really just all come from this like core energetic self. Okay, so I have another example I really want to share. So years ago, I was in a job that I constantly felt kind of stressed in, pulled in all different directions. I traveled a lot for work. My clients, my colleagues were really just like all over Asia. And I remember because I really worked solo, I didn't really have a team, that I felt very disconnected to like the bigger team that I was a part of, but really I was kind of just that like what is it called? Intrapreneur, like an entrepreneur, like in the company, because I was responsible for digital. And so you're always kind of in like your own little special place when you are in charge of digital. At least it was back then, and it wasn't as common and people didn't know as much about it. So I constantly felt left out every time I'd return to the home office after lots of traveling. Other people on the team that I didn't really directly work with, they would go out to lunch and they wouldn't invite me. And I just always felt kind of just unseen. I felt like I wasn't included, and it was just like very irritating to me. And then I realized that it was really not the right opportunity for me anymore, and I wanted to come back to the US. And, in those last few weeks, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in and I'm going to make the most out of my last few weeks. I don't want to end on a bad note. So I went every single day feeling more open, more collaborative, and was proactive in asking, hey, do you want to go out to lunch? And checking in with people and saying, hey, you want to get a coffee? How's your day been? How can I help you? All these different things. And it was bananas. Everything started to change because my energy started to change, and that affected my thoughts, my actions, and what was coming back to me, how people were reacting to me, engaging with me. I started getting invited to lunches again, and I soon realized they're just like, oh, well, it wasn't anything personal. It was just you were never really here, and we thought you were always doing your own thing. And after I had changed my perspective and moving honestly from kind of like a victim mentality to one that was more empowered, the relationships I had with my coworkers were just so much better. So that's another example I wanted to share about why your energy is so important. Find that early on when I was trying to understand energy, and I still kind of have my learnings with energy. I always uncover like a new layer of understanding as time goes by. But truly in the beginning, it was very confusing. And I was like, I don't know, what do you mean energy? And the more I meditated, the more I studied the various things that I share with you over the podcast and workshops and the monthly membership, the more I began to understand, oh, this is what energy is. Okay. My energy really dictates everything. It's my mindset, it's my beliefs, my thoughts, my actions, the tangible things that I create in the world. So I cannot emphasize enough in why paying attention to your energy is so important. I'll have a couple tips that I'll be sharing in a little bit in how you can raise your vibration. And raising your vibration is important because when you are operating from gratitude, abundance, joy, that's when all the good stuff is going to come to you. If you're like I never get this, or I don't have enough, then that's your vibe. That's what you're going to be attracting. And honestly, it's always changing. And it's not like I don't have bad moods. We're all human, but it's just being aware of knowing like, hey, like I may be feeling a certain emotion and let me sit with it and acknowledge it. But then for me now, I'm like, okay, how do I get out of this? I want to transmute this energy. And so the things that I found to be the most helpful in transmuting energy, in raising my vibration is one, when I wake up, I don't look at my phone. I make time for myself to set an intention for the day and really set the tone for the day with those activities that I like to do for my morning ritual, morning routine. And if you're just starting off, it could just be 2 minutes at the beginning of the day. You close your eyes, taking 10 deep breaths. There is no way you are so busy that you don't have time to take 10 breaths. You can do it while you're in the bathroom, getting dressed. If you want to make it a little bit more active and you find it hard to sit, you can do that. I will give you that. But ideally, you're sitting on your bed for 10 breaths, enjoying a nice moment and silence and peace. Next, we do a quick vibe check. Check in with your energy. Notice how you feel. You can do this during the meditation, you can do it after, and you can write it down in your journal as well. Notice how you are feeling. And if you don't like how you're feeling, maybe you're waking up a little bit groggy because you didn't get enough sleep, close your eyes once more and imagine how you would like to feel. Maybe even how you want the day to go. And just taking a few breaths here. So 1, it's important to take a couple moments of silence. Don't look at your phone when you wake up. And 2, check in with yourself. Notice how you feel. And if it's not something you like, change it. So the next thing that I like to do is to set an intention. An intention is really powerful because it anchors and guides your day. You can refer to it throughout the day if you need to. Oftentimes I just write it down in my journal and then I kind of just let it go. Next up, we have movement. I always try to move a little bit in the morning, whether it's just taking a quick walk or doing a yoga class, another fitness class. It's so important to move your body to really just kind of shake things up because movement also allows you to transmute energy. And of course, we all know when you exercise, raise your heart rate, breathe a little bit more, you also release endorphins. So adding a little bit of movement to your day is great as well. Something that I've been incorporating in more at the start of my day, because I usually do this at the end of the day, is to read or listen to something inspirational. It's so easy to get caught up in news and social media and what your friends or family are saying to you, and that a lot of times it's just not very positive. So starting the day off with something inspirational, whether it's a poem that you read or a book that is self-help or something to help you understand how to raise your vibration, it's a wonderful way to reinforce the high vibe intention you have for the day. So I have a couple books that I'll recommend. You can check the show notes and just read for, a couple minutes or a chapter, whatever you have time for. And then, of course, this is something that is helpful to do every so often, but definitely every single day, if you can, is to think about what you need to release. It could be someone, or maybe it's yourself that you have to forgive, a limiting belief, a situation that isn't serving you. Constantly, we need to figure out what we need to empty out energetically. Something that we really don't do. Like, we clean the house, we do laundry, we do other cleaning activities for different things in our lives, but what about mentally? What do you need to release mentally? What do you need to release energetically? And writing it down. And if it's something that's like a limiting belief, transform that into something that serves you. Maybe your limiting belief is, I do not know enough. And you can change it to, I know enough that will help someone. Something like that. I think you get the idea. But if you need some help, if you want me to kind of help you transmute your limiting belief, you can always text me. If you haven't added me yet, it's 202-918-3414. Okay, so those are my top tips to help you raise your vibration. Honestly, ideally, do this every single day. But sometimes you can't, and that's totally fine. It's a process, and you pick and choose what works for you for that day, whether you have just a few minutes or you have a longer stretch of time that day, so you can maybe do all of them. So, 1, check in with yourself in the morning. Make sure you don't look at the phone. Take a couple breaths to yourself. You can consider this as a quick meditation. 2, check in with your energy. How are you feeling? And if you don't like it, go back into meditation. Close your eyes and think about and really feel into how you would like to be, how you would like your mood to be. 3, set an intention for the day. Allow it to anchor and guide you. 4, see if you can incorporate some movement into your day, even if it's just 10 jumping jacks. Sometimes if I'm like in a weird mood or I feel anxious, even in the middle of the day, I'll just kind of jump around, maybe do some stretching, and it always makes me feel a lot better. If I go for a walk, it's even better. 5, read something inspiring or listen to an inspiring podcast or audiobook to really reinforce your intention for a high vibe day. And finally, this is something you can do every day or a couple times a month, is to figure out what you need to release. What isn't serving you? What's causing you stress? What's causing you anxiety? And allow it to leave your mind, body, and soul. Leave you completely so that you can welcome in a higher vibration. A lot of times we're keeping a lot of things in our body, these energetic blocks, and it doesn't serve us. It's what's not allowing us to call in our manifestations. It is causing us to feel dis-ease, to experience dis-ease. And so it's important to clean house, to figure out what needs to be released, what's not serving you anymore, so that something that does can come into your mind, come into your emotional body, your energetic body, whatever it is. Did that sound easy? Well, it's because it is really easy. The most difficult part really is consistency, but I promise once you get started, that's half the battle, and then just keeping accountable with doing it every single day or a couple times a week. And if you want, you can always text me an emoji to signal that you've kind of done your check-in for the day, meditation, whatever it is, to my number 202-918-3414. I'm happy to be your accountability buddy because raising your vibration truly is that easy. Do you have a friend that needs help with being more positive or with manifestation, calling in their dream life? Send them this episode so they can understand how to transmute their energy, why energy is so important, and how to raise your vibration with a couple helpful tips. So share this with a friend that is in need. And anytime you feel a little bit blah, you can always re-listen to this episode to help you shift into that state of being that is more high vibe, more aligned with your true self, your higher self, your highest self. All of these different practices and tools are always just reconnecting you to your authentic self, to your true self. And that's what it truly means to raise your vibration, coming home to yourself. If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate it 5 stars. It would mean so much to me. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can click on the support link in the show notes below as well.